you're making $65,000 a year, maybe even more. And somehow, at the end of every month, you're still asking yourself the same frustrating question: where did all my money go? You're not struggling to survive. You're not living paycheck to paycheck in the traditional sense. On paper, you're doing fine. But in reality, it feels like you're constantly chasing your money, like no matter how much you earn, it just disappears. And the worst part is, you don't even feel like you're living a luxurious life. So what's actually going on here? Because if you think the answer is you just need to make more money, I'm going to challenge that right now. There are people making $40,000 who feel financially stable, and there are people making $150,000 who feel completely broke. So clearly, income alone isn't the solution. Let's talk about the real reasons this is happening, because once you understand them, everything starts to make sense. First, lifestyle inflation is quietly draining your income without you even realizing it. When you started earning less, your expectations were different. You were okay with cheaper options, fewer subscriptions, smaller expenses. But as your income increased, so did your lifestyle. And it happened gradually. You upgraded your phone. You started ordering food more often. Maybe you moved into a slightly better apartment, bought nicer clothes, started using more paid services. None of these things feel extreme on their own. That's the trap. Because lifestyle inflation doesn't hit you all at once. It sneaks in slowly, until your normal becomes expensive. And now, your expenses have quietly risen to match your income. So even though you're earning more, you're not actually keeping more. Second, fixed costs are probably eating a huge portion of your income. Rent, car payments, insurance, utilities, these are the expenses that don't change much month to month. And once they get locked in, they're hard to reduce. Here's the problem. When your fixed expenses are too high, you lose flexibility. Even if you try to cut back on spending, it barely makes a difference because most of your money is already committed. You can skip a few dinners out, but your rent is still due. Your car payment doesn't care if you're trying to save money. And this is where a lot of people get stuck. They focus on cutting small, variable expenses, but the real issue is that their fixed costs are consuming too much of their income. Third, you might be underestimating how much small expenses add up. It's easy to ignore a $5 coffee, a $12 subscription, a $20 impulse purchase. These don't feel like big decisions. But when you stack them over weeks and months, they become significant. Think about it. A few subscriptions here, a few takeout meals there, random online purchases. Suddenly you're spending hundreds, even thousands, without a clear memory of where it went. It's not one big mistake, it's 100 small ones. And because they're small, they don't trigger alarm bells. You don't feel guilty about them. You don't track them carefully. But they quietly drain your financial progress. Fourth, you probably don't have a clear system for your money. This is a big one. Most people don't actually tell their money where to go. They just spend and hope there's something left at the end. But money doesn't work that way. If you don't control it intentionally, it will get spent unintentionally. When your paycheck comes in, what happens? Do you automatically save and invest a portion? Or do you pay your bills, spend what you need, and then maybe save whatever is left? Because here's the truth. If you're saving what's left, there will almost always be nothing left. You need a system that prioritizes saving and investing first, not last. Fifth, you might be stuck in what I call the middle income trap. This is where your income is high enough that you don't feel poor, but not high enough to support the lifestyle you're trying to maintain comfortably. So you end up in this awkward position where you're earning decent money, but your expenses stretch it thin. You're not struggling enough to make drastic changes, but you're not comfortable enough to feel secure. This is why so many people at this income level feel stuck. They're not forced to optimize their finances, but they're also not free. Sixth, debt could be quietly working against you. Credit cards, personal loans, car financing, these don't just reduce your current income, they steal from your future income too. Interest is one of the most powerful forces in finance, but when it's working against you, it becomes a silent killer. You might think it's just a small monthly payment, but over time, those payments add up to a huge amount. And the worst part? Debt makes you feel richer than you actually are, until the bill comes due. Seventh, you might not be investing enough, or at all. This is a big difference between people who feel broke and people who feel financially secure at the same income level. If your money is just sitting in your bank account, it's not working for you. It's slowly losing value to inflation. Real financial comfort isn't about spending more. It's about having control. It's about knowing your money is working for you, not disappearing on you. It's about having margin, breathing room, peace of mind. And that doesn't come from a specific income number. It comes from how you manage what you already have. So if you're making $65,000 or more and still feel broke, it's not because you're failing. It's because no one ever taught you how to actually handle money at this level. But now, you see it. And once you see it, you can start changing it. Because the truth is, you're probably a lot closer to financial stability than you think. You just need to stop letting your money slip through your fingers and start putting it to work with intention. Meanwhile, people who invest are building assets that grow over time. Their money starts generating more money. So even if their income is similar to yours, their financial situation feels completely different. Because they're not just earning money, they're growing it. Eighth, social pressure is influencing your spending more than you realize. You see people on social media traveling, buying new things, living a certain lifestyle, and it subtly shapes your expectations. You don't want to feel left behind. You don't want to look like you're struggling. So you spend to keep up, even if it doesn't align with your financial reality. And this isn't always obvious. It's not like you're consciously saying, "I'm going to impress people." It's more subtle than that. It's choosing the slightly more expensive option. It's upgrading when you don't need to. It's saying yes to things that stretch your budget. And over time, it adds up. Now here's the part most people don't want to hear. Making more money won't automatically fix this. If you're making $65,000 and feel broke, there's a very high chance that if you start making $85,000, you'll still feel broke. Because the underlying habits don't change. Your lifestyle will expand, your spending will adjust, and you'll end up in the same position, just with bigger numbers. So what do you actually do about it? You start by getting brutally honest about where your money is going. Not guessing, not estimating, actually tracking it. Look at your last 30 to 60 days of spending. Break it down. See the patterns. This alone can be eye-opening, because you'll finally see the reality instead of the assumptions. Then, focus on optimizing your fixed costs. This is where the biggest impact happens. If your rent is too high, consider alternatives. If your car payment is eating your budget, rethink it. These decisions might feel uncomfortable, but they create long-term freedom. Next, build a simple system for your money. When your income comes in, it should be divided intentionally. A portion goes to essentials. A portion goes to savings and investments. A portion goes to spending. And this happens automatically, not based on willpower. Then, start investing consistently. Even small amounts matter. The goal isn't to get rich overnight. It's to build momentum. Because once your money starts working for you, everything changes. You stop relying only on your paycheck. You start creating options. And finally, Redefine what feeling rich actually means to you. Because right now, you might be chasing a version of wealth that's based on appearances, not reality.